12 years ago, the Department of Finance wrongfully sued Peter Kane and Alan Endres in seeking the recovery of misappropriated funds. The men filed a counterclaim which, despite a strong defence by the government over the past decade, looks as though will be successful. If so, billions of dollars will be paid out in damages. The damages will create a huge black hole in the Gillard government's forecast budget surplus in 2013. Megan Belowski has the exclusive interview with Peter Kane, who tells us what the government won't.
Good evening, Peter. Thanks for joining us on Undercurrent. How does it make you feel when, you know, your country, your government, your constitution is working against you?
It was totally horrific to be facing in 2008 a trial against top silks that the Commonwealth had engaged. We had no money. We had to do it ourselves. Until the Saturday before the trial started, we didn't know what their case was. And we started to hear it when we got up and had the trial in Canberra. So we then started to realise that they were claiming still that we were conspirators, because they had to. They had to run with that line, because that's how they started it.
This case hasn't been heard of. No one has heard of it. Do you think that politicians and the government have a certain responsibility to own up to things and explain what's going on, as opposed to covering it up and lying about it until one day they realise, you know, we're in a bit of trouble?
Well, it has been mentioned in the budget for several years now, but until this year, they have said that our counterclaim has no merit. Well, they've now taken that out. They're now saying to the public, well, effectively, that our counterclaim does have merit. But more important than that, they are more accountable for what we see as a cover-up in the mismanagement of monies years and years, 10 years ago, 12 years ago. Nobody in their right mind back then would have thought, and it shocked us when we found out, that the transactions happened because one person pushed buttons on a keyboard and that sent money out of the Reserve Bank into our accounts. Now, we didn't know that was what was happening. We had no idea. And
the contractor that did that, he was arrested, he was prosecuted, wasn't he?
Yes, he was, and he was convicted of paying money out to us in an unauthorised way. So it became apparent to us that he had committed a fraud on the Commonwealth, and the Commonwealth then jumped to the immediate conclusion that we were part of that as a conspiracy that we were part of it, and they based their case on us being criminals.
What motivated you to keep fighting this? 12 years is a long time. What kept you and your partner Alan going?
Well, we were right, and they were wrong. They accused us of being involved in an activity which was underhand and criminal, and it just wasn't the case. From the date of the injunction, our assets, all of our business assets, and indeed our houses, also were frozen because of injunctions that were granted to the Commonwealth Government. The court initially refused the injunctions, but the Commonwealth gave an undertaking to the defendants that if the Commonwealth was not successful in their claim against the defendants, that the defendants could make an application against the Commonwealth for damages for the monies that we've lost as a result of the case.
If and when you win the case, at the moment it looks like you will end up winning the case. Obviously there's $4.3 billion that you're owed in damages, plus interest, which at the moment is estimated at $2 million a day for the 12 years. That's $10 billion. How is that going to affect the Gillard government's budget surplus and, more importantly, taxpayers?
Well, it will have a significant impact on the budget because, as I understand it, a $10 billion payment it'll absolutely wipe out any surplus that they're thinking about. So it's a significant issue. Now, that brings into question, why aren't they dealing with this? Well, we don't know. We're confused about that. So we need to get on with our lives. We've got people that surround us that are involved, people a lot older than I am who are just waiting on the outcome so that they can move on, and nobody's doing anything. So there's no sense of responsibility within government, it seems to me. They're not dealing with the problem. But how will it affect us? Who knows? It's a bit too far away for me to be determining or deciding how it's going to affect us. It's just still a hard road. Every day we just don't know.
Run, run, run.